So today we'll going to discuss about a important topic which is well known to us is X-ray diffraction. X-ray diffraction is not only applicable for uh, solid material like iron or any inorganic solid. It is also applicable for organic solids. Even it is applicable for your protein and various kind of biomolecules. So what does it tells? The X-ray diffractions of solid tells about the structure of a solid. So what is the structure of a what it tells? Structural determination of solid. It will inform us about the unit cell and the atomic arrangement in the solid. So we know that solid are broadly classified into two classes. Number one is amorphous solid and number two is crystalline solid. So crystalline solids have long range order. That means these are more ordered than your amorphous one. Amorphous solid has less ordered structure than your crystalline solid. So how could you understand one solid is amorphous or crystalline? The only way to understand uh, exactly by X-ray diffraction. So if we do X-ray diffraction of any compound, then this compound will give a spectrum, and this spectrum is plotted against 2 theta in the x-axis and intensity in the y-axis. So this is basically called the X-ray diffraction pattern. Okay, so X-ray diffraction pattern is nothing, it is a graphical representation where y-axis is the intensity and x-axis is the 2 theta. Theta is the diffraction angle. Okay, if you say this is a solid, you put a X-ray this, and then this is incidented ray and this is your diffracted ray, and this is the angle of incidence. Okay, so 2 theta, why 2 theta will come in later. Now if we look at the X-ray diffraction pattern of amorphous solid, it gives broad peak. So the spread of this peak is very high. So these are broad peak. When we take the X-ray diffraction pattern of a single crystal, that will give us a sharp peak. So sharp peaks means this compound is a crystalline compound, and broad peak means this is a amorphous compound. Okay. So I have told you that this is the things, and from X-ray diffraction one can determine the d spacing, that means the interplanar spacing, and the spacing between two atoms or two position in a unit cell of a solid can be determined using d spacing, and this spacing can be determined by Bragg's law. We know that n lambda equal to 2d sin theta. N here is the n is the degree of reflection or diffraction, which is started from 1, 2 and so on. N never be 0, and lambda is the wavelength, incidented wavelength, in wavelength of the incidented X-ray. D is the spacing, d spacing, interplanar spacing, and theta is your diffraction angle. Similarly, one can calculate the crystallite size using Debye-Scherrer equation. What is crystallite size? Crystallite size is a measurement of the size of a crystal. That means size of a crystal means it may have 1 unit cell, 2 unit cell, 3 unit cell, 4 unit cell, and so on. So this number of unit cell will form a crystallite, and later on these crystallites will nucleate to form the ultimate solid. So how could you determine the crystallite size? Using Debye-Scherrer equation. So Debye-Scherrer equation, the crystallite size D, capital D equal to 0.9, sometimes people have denoted as capital T also, 0.9 lambda by beta cos theta. Lambda is again the wavelength of the X-ray, incidented X-ray, and beta is called full width at half maxima, or it is called full width half maxima. So what does it mean? If I take a X-ray diffraction pattern of some compound, then I am having a peak like this. Okay. Then the full width half maxima, in y-axis I have plotted intensity. Okay. Now my full width half maxima is the position where the intensity is exactly half. That is when I counted this basal plane as 0, intensity is 0 here. Now I am counting the intensity at the top, in the top, that is in the top of the peak is 1000. So the half will be 500. So 500 will be like this position, and this position represent 500. Now the full width, that is half maxima, 500 is the half maxima, that is point A and point B represent the half maxima of the peak. So width means this spread A to B. So AB line will be the, or AB distance will be the full width at half maxima. So that will be also in 2 theta, and theta is the diffraction angle. Okay. So we have noticed that everywhere when we are plotting the X-ray diffraction pattern, we are using 2 theta in the x-axis y. This basically comes from this, that will clear from this diagram. Here is my solid, this is my solid, let's say here is my solid. I have a X-ray source here, and this X-ray source emitted X-ray, and this X-ray is falling on the solid. Okay, so the incidence, angle of incidence is theta. Okay, now by the virtue of diffraction by the solid, what will happen? The X-ray will diffracted and it is detected by the detector. So according to the reflection law, the incidented angle of incidence and angle of reflection or diffraction will be same. So that will be theta, that will be theta. Now if there is no solid, then what will happen? The X-ray will follow the straight line path. So if two straight line cross, then this opposite angle are equal. This is a simple geometric rule. So this angle and that angle will be your equal. Now what we do, we first calibrate like such a way that there is no solid. Okay, so we will get this as our standard. Now when the solid is present, then that the reflection will go in the other direction, so there is a deviation. So we basically measure the deviation when the solid, there is no solid, in which path it will go, and if there is a solid, in which path the X-ray is going. In this way we measure the deviation angle, and the deviation is nothing, BOC angle. So BOC angle is 2 theta. So 2 theta, that's why we are plotting intensity versus 2 theta in the X-ray diffraction pattern.